Hello, it's that time of year again. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or maybe following my blog, you'll know that every year for about the last 5 years I've made my sister a gorgeous birthday card. It happened completely by accident after I suddenly realised that about 3 years in a row I'd been making her a gorgeous card every year. And yeah, it was a complete accident, but it's fine because she absolutely loves Gorjuss just as much as I do. Today I'm going to use this one which I haven't stamped before, and she is called Every Summer Has a Story, and it combines nicely with these washi tapes that I keep on my desk, and I don't use very much. It's more decoration, but I figured that my sister was special enough for me to use them on her card. So I'll be using those. Again, this is out of a Gorjuss bundle as well. It's this really bright pink ribbon, and also these buttons, so you get a tiny jar of these gorgeous buttons. And I thought, if I'm obviously going to do her the same colours as she is on the packaging, so the buttons will tie in with her socks. Like I said, haven't stamped this one before. I have got lots of Gorjuss stuff, but I really have only used it to make my sister's cards. I think I've made one other one. I've made ATCs with the smaller stamps, but I do keep meaning to make myself a Gorjuss journal, and I thought maybe I'd make a notebook for my sister at some point as well. Anyway, today it is the card, and I'm going to start off by stamping the image with Versaclair Fine in Nocturne, just on some ordinary cardstock, and I'm going to colour her with my Kuretake real brush pens. So it will be like a watercolour, but because I am using a normal cardstock and not a watercolour cardstock, I won't be able to use as much water. But it should be fine. I have watercoloured on this one before. I do mostly now keep the larger stamps in their packaging, but in the past I have cut the packaging out and used it on cards and things, because the packaging is so pretty that you can use it. I think in fact last year's, oh no, it's the year before, I think, the card, I used a lot of packaging. So, and I've even got the little names of them here as well. But I thought these would be quite good as tabs in a journal and things like that. So yes, I've got all the packaging bits. That's obviously a random bit. I don't know why that's in there. That's random too. That's obviously just got chucked away very quickly. Oh, it's not really a round pot for square bits. It's not the best, is it? Anyway, yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with you. I don't really need all the magnets on here, but it just means that I don't lose them. The amount of times I've lost one, or I find out that it's stuck to something else, or the back of this, because obviously that's magnetic. And what I have done is taken out the foam mat, because you don't need it with these ones because they're thick enough. If you try and use the foam mat, you won't get a decent impression. So I obviously stamped her out. The Santoro and the Gorjuss have gone a bit splurgy, if that's a word. It's basically because I pushed too hard on them, but I'm not worried about that because I'm cutting the image out anyway. Again, on her leg here it's a little bit too thick, but again I'll just make sure I cut nice and close. So I can sort out my colours. I've brought the coloured image of the stamp back onto the desk so I can have a good idea at matching up what colours I want. I've picked out my colours. I've got a couple of yellows because she's holding a yellow bag and also her ribbon around her dress. I've got greens obviously for her dress down here, and I've also got pinks and reds for her dress. Now some of the reds do come out a bit pinky, so I've just got them all out. Obviously I'm not going to use anywhere near this amount of colours, else it would just look a mess. And I've got these greys out for her hair. Now I have got the black in there, but if I just go in with the black, it's just going to look really blocky. I won't get any shading, obviously, so I need to build up the colour with greys really, so we'll see how that goes. The one thing I am going to colour with my Copics is her skin, because I am still learning how to colour skin tones with these Kuretake pens, and I've I wouldn't say I've got it nailed with the Copics, but it certainly comes out a lot better, and because I've practiced it I kind of know how the layers go, so yeah, it just looks better. So I'm going to colour her face with the Copics. I just need loads of practice. As I mentioned, I have been able to not nail the colouring of the face at all, because there are so many people out there that are brilliant at this. But I have got to a stage that I'm happy with. I know when I look at it if I'm happy with it or not. And I've become slightly distracted because I just realised there's a black mark on her dress, which is quite annoying. I'm just wondering if that was a hair or something. I don't know. That's very odd. So I'm going to stamp her again anyway, because obviously I don't want a massive black mark. Well, it's not massive, but I know it's there now. So I think that was rather a happy accident, because it now means I've got one to try my colours on, which makes sense. I probably should have done that anyway. This one has actually stamped out slightly better, and that's probably because I've already conditioned the stamp by using it once. If it is a brand new stamp, it is always a good idea to ink it up and just stamp it and ink it a few times. Especially with the polymer ones, because they can be a bit temperamental when you first start using them. I have got two pots of clean water. One is going to be the one to wash my brush in, and the other one will stay clean so I can move the colours about if I need to, because obviously I don't want to drag dirty water onto my picture. That's not my idea. I actually learnt that off Jenny Mays from Hobby Art. If you've been following my blog, you'll have seen that I've done quite a few of Jenny's online classes now, which I can't recommend highly enough. They're fabulous, and they are such good value for money. If you might know that on Facebook there's a group called Kitten Clouder, and I think it's Alice that runs it, and it's her website is Kitten Clouder, and she does classes. Now I've downloaded goodness knows how many classes. I subscribed for a little one, then it was getting silly because I wasn't actually using the classes, so I do need to sit down and spend some time to do that. But if you want colouring tips and proper techniques, and yeah, it's just fantastic. If you don't know Kitten Clouder is and you want to learn how to colour fantastically, it is definitely worth going to that website. And I realise I sound like I'm advertising people a bit, but I'm not. I just like to share stuff that I know and I found helpful. This one actually looks like it might need filling up again. That's the thing as well. If you don't know, with Copics you can actually refill them, so you don't have to buy a whole new pen. And the refills are actually reasonably priced for the amount of ink that you get in them. Or I think so anyway. hopefully you can now see that I've got colour on her face. So her cheeks are a little flushed. So after layering up these three, I just added some of this R20, which is a blush colour, just to give those rosy cheeks. Now I'm going to work out what colours are going to work best with her outfit. I think I might actually start with her hair rather than her outfit. The colours I've got are dark grey, natural grey, cool grey and pale grey, and I have got the black, but I will be using that sparingly. The other advantage to using the watercolours is obviously I can tone the the colour down with some water, but I'm going to start with the cool grey. I'm just going to see how that looks. Now you're not going to be able to see much of this at all, but it is giving me a base layer to work from. Okay, so I'm not going to do the whole thing because I'm just testing it out. Then we've got the pale grey, so I think I'll go with that next because that's slightly darker, so you can probably maybe just about see that. It's not showing up very well on the camera, is it? I'll take the dark grey in next, I think, because I think that's slightly lighter than the natural. So obviously I'm going to go with the lighter colour first. Then just need a paintbrush. I haven't got any particular special paintbrushes. I've just collected sort of loads over the last few years. Yeah, the Works actually do some reasonable ones. I have got, this one is Crafter's Choice. These are the ones that Crafter's Companion brought out. And then you can just move the pen with the brush. Now I've probably waited a little bit too long because you do kind of need that ink to be wet, that layer you've put down. This is what Jenny says, so please don't think that I'm some sort of expert. I'm just repeating tips that I've learnt. And they do the Zig Clean Colour Real brushes, they do blender as well. So yeah, instead of using paintbrush you could use the blender. I'm just going to continue with this and see what sort of colour I can get, whether I can get this to a sort of dark, almost black, but it's probably going to take some time. I think I'll probably do that off camera and then come back because it's probably going to be a bit too long otherwise. I thought I would do a catch up at this point. So this is how far I've got colouring the real one, the one to go on the card. The yellows and greens were really easy, and I actually went with a full-on black for the stockings. So I tried doing a grey, but it was, yeah, it really needed the black, I think. And I've added a very light grey to the other areas. The greens and yellows were really easy for these bits. Face obviously I'd done with the Copics. Now I'm trying to get exactly the right pink. I think I've more or less got there now. I think I know which three colours I'm going with to get as close to this as I can. As you can see, I've spent ages trying out different colours. I'm just taking a break before I colour in the one to go on the card Yeah, because I keep going over the edges on here and I'm concerned I'm going to do it on the real one. Yeah, so I've started making the base card. I stitched on the buttons with some bright pink cotton, which is quite handy because obviously it tones in with this. And then I've started putting on the washi tape too. I'm just going to do the other pieces of washi. So there's obviously the stripy one. I'm just doing it by eye and I'm not going to leave that big a gap. And I also want to cut it on the diagonal and slightly shorter than the one before it. So that should do. It's good. And finally I've got the one with the melons on. So that looks about right for the spacing. And then I think I will take it up about there actually. Yeah. There we go. And at the moment I think I'm going to leave it like that, and obviously I'll cut my image and that will be put on there, and I might just add a sentiment. Yeah, now I'm going to go in and hopefully succeed in colouring the dress the right colour, or the colour that I want it. As you can see, I have stuck her down using the foam tape, and I've given a little shadow here so it doesn't look like she's floating. And I've got my typography dies from Leonie Poodle, and I've die cut the word sister, so I'm going to put that on along with the happy birthday sentiment. Sorry about the shadow, but it's a different time of day, so I've added the word sister there with the dies from Leonie, and I'm going to use a sentiment out of this collection, if I can reach it, which is By the Water, and it was from a magazine. Now I believe it was Creative Stamping, I think, so you normally do these big sets. So I'm going to use this birthday and this happy down here. I probably should have left her off till the end, because now I can't really put it in my stamp press because obviously she's raised up, and so I'm going to have to use an acrylic block and keep my fingers crossed, because this would be a really bad time for me to mess this up because I'd have to start again. I'd have to try and peel her off, and yeah, so fingers crossed it works. I'm going to use the archival in jet black. Of course the other option would be to stamp it on a die cut and then pin that on, but I am going to be brave. Pretty sure there's a hair somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I don't want that getting in the way. Yeah. Well, that doesn't look like it's taken. See, this is the thing as well, it's a new stamp. Well, I haven't inked it up, so I'm going to ink it on a bit of scrap. Oh, that's good. I'm happy with that. I am just going to get one of my Zig Millennium pens. I need a small one. And I just need to make just a little bit darker there. I don't want to go in too heavy because otherwise it will be too obvious. So it's always worth having a very fine black pen. I'm just going to go around the P bit there as well. There we go, so you would never know. And I am going to call that finished. Yeah, I am pleased with that. Let's hope my sister likes it. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up and a comment as well. And until next time, cheerio.